Thank you for choosing our Patio Heat channel. I'm Steve. We provide tips and information to extend the enjoyment of your patio project. Our videos give you a knowledgeable overview prior to investing in your outdoor heating equipment. Whether you are a professional or owner-builder, we provide specific details for optimum heat coverage for your application. Post a comment or question, or for developed visual designs, send your request into designs@patioheat.com. We're here to work with you. For over 30 years, patio heating is the bedrock of our business, expressing what works best. Now let's get heating. Okay, so here we have the standalone structure, residential application. You can see we have two seating areas. There are some fans up here, some light fixtures, and let's go into the overall dimensions. So overall dimensions that I have here are 25 feet by roughly 17.5 feet, and that's the outer edges over here. Also, I have a height here of this, I'll call this a post here of 8'11", and then a height of 9'9" to the top edge right up here on this cross beam. So all these cross beams here are going to be roughly about that 9'9" elevation. And then I have a ceiling height of, I should say a rooftop height of about 13 feet off the finished floor. There is a bar area over here, and I think that's about it as far as dimensions are concerned. Oh, I do want to bring up one other dimension here, and I'll show you why in just a minute. Here I have this distance between this inside edge of the beam here, or post rather, to the inside of this beam here, and I have that at 8'4.5". Now this is going to be a very specific piece of information when we start to look at what we can do here to heat the area. Let's go ahead and turn that off now, and we're going to just talk about heating up this one side over here. This particular client had asked for just 2 units and to specifically heat up, the seating position here on the right. You can see also that I have the seating positions here just about centrally located. It might be pushed over just slightly, but in any case, about centrally located here to the backside over here. And now let's go ahead and look at what we can do. First of all, I'm going to show the 6,000 watt CD model. So this has got 2 elements on it, and this has got 6,000 watt 240 volts at 25 amps a piece. And what I did here is I placed, first of all, the clearance area, and this is why I brought up that dimension that was kind of important here. This heater itself is not quite centered within the span from this post here to the inside edge here. Now we could move it over slightly, but what I wanted to show is that you need to make sure that this has got a minimum of 18 inches from this edge here to the edge of the heater itself, and the same is applied on this side here as well. The other thing too is that the heater's height, or excuse me, the clearance above the heater when mounted on a vertical surface like this has to be a minimum of 12 inches. And so let me go ahead and just turn on that 12-inch height here. Now you can see that what I have remaining is just a couple of inches of height above. So this is 12 inches from the top edge of the heater here to the clearance area. And again, you can see that we just have a few more inches here, maybe 4, 6, but it's very important that you measure off what is true. If I was to show you the mounting space of this bracket here, for instance, and I just went straight up here, that is 10 3/4 of an inch. So if you don't have 10 3/4 of an inch from that position, and I want to double check that I hit it right. I actually didn't, so let me go ahead and go back over here and go from here up to the top ceiling area, and so that's actually 10 1/4 of an inch. If you don't have 10 1/4 of an inch, then the heater isn't going to fit here properly. Now, obviously, you can see that what I have as far as the height of this beam coming across, and let me grab it over here to here. I have that at 10 1/4 of an inch. So obviously, there is some space that you can move this down. Roughly I have it at about 2.25 inch that you can actually move this bracket down. So that height could change. 10 1/4, could give you that. You have 2 inches extra to go. So again, it comes down to this point here, 12 inches of clearance above, but that 10 1/4 is just to show that if you have it here and you had 10 1/4 inches to the top, then this heater will work if it's truly there. The other thing I need to mention is that the angle of the heater itself is at 30 degrees. So if that changes at all, you change that, then obviously the height of this top portion of the heater is going to go up a little higher, so you will need to modify that as well. But in any case, what I want to show is the footprint of heat, and I'm going to go ahead and turn that on, and I'm going to turn the clearance areas off here. I'm also going to take off the rooftop here so we can take a good look at what that heat coverage is going to look like. And with the seating position like I have it, it is really good for most of the seating positions. The only thing I would say is that right here, your upper torso body is not in the ideal amount of heat. And just to note that this is infrared light waves. Infrared light waves is kind of like the sun. So if I casted the sun out here, you can see that there's the sun hitting this structure. I can put the lid back on here, or the rooftop here back on. But if you were standing in the shadow of the structure, you would not feel the sunlight of the sun itself, and you would not feel the warmth of that infrared light waves that come from the sun. And that's the same is true here. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the shadow here and just talk about this, that if you're not in that light wave itself, you're not going to feel the warmth. Infrared does not heat air. Infrared heats mass, tables, chairs, floors in the human body. If you're not in that mass, then or in that ray itself, you're not going to feel it. So the other thing too is this footprint that you see here. It's roughly about 10 by 12, so 12 foot this direction, and 10 foot from this point here to, you can see this point here. That's the footprint of heat that you'll get. Now, infrared does bend and stretch and go further, but this is the ideal footprint. So yes, you will feel some of the warmth over here on your upper torso, but it won't be as ideal. And we have to maintain that 18 inches of clearance over here, and that's part of the issue. Now, if we place the heaters over here, that's something that we could do. I'll go ahead and do that here in just a minute. But I also want to show another option of placing the 5200 watt units. These are shorter than the others, and I have them centered within the span from here to here. I'm going to turn off the ray here for just a minute and see if we can go ahead and put the clearance areas on. But you can see that the clearances areas here are not as important, or are not as restrictive here. And also, I just went ahead and placed this heater so that it is physically 12 inches from the top of the heater to what I have as the slope ceiling over here. So obviously you'd move this down, but I wanted just to show that it can go up a little higher than the other one. If I showed the other one here, you can see that it's different height here, but obviously you'd want to move the heater down. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off here and go ahead and look at the footprint of heat. Turn off the ray, or excuse me, the clearance. And I'm also going to take the rooftop off here again and take a look at that. So you can see that the only difference really is that the coverage over here is slightly less. It's about 9 feet, throw left to right. And yeah, so you're going to be missing a little bit more of this area here with that particular unit. And obviously I have it, further away from this edge here. So that's centered, located here. So, but yeah, that would work out okay, but I would probably prefer the 6,000 watt units more than the other. Now, I'm going to go ahead and turn this off here. And let me grab another 6,000 watt unit, and then I'm going to also just place it. We'll go ahead and place it here for a second, and let me just switch it around. And we're going to move it up here, kind of get an idea of what that would look like. I'm going to also move this to the center of the patio structure itself, if I can grab it right. And okay, so I'm going to go ahead and place it right here in the center, and you can see that there is another issue here, and this is why it might not be something that would work out right. I'm going to go ahead and place it right up the edge, move it out 6 inches, and then I'm going to turn on the clearances below the heater, and you can see now we're penetrating this fan here in the middle, and we really don't have that much room to move the unit over to the left here or right. But let's just say we go 18 inches to that particular edge, and you can see here, this is the edge I'm talking about. The footprint of heat is decent. You would receive that heat over here, and here would be just as fine. But the main problem is that we're not meeting the clearance to the fan. Unless that fan goes up higher, it would have to go up approximately 12 inches, and that would probably not be available. So that's why I'm not placing a heater over here. So let's go ahead and take that out and just go back with what is my preferred, which is the two 6,000 watt units mounted here 18 inches away from this beam and at a 30-degree angle. And I think this would be the most ideal for this application. All right, well, I hope this has helped. If you're looking for some assistance with your outdoor heating application and you would like us to review your plans, send your information into designs@patioheat.com, and please tap that like button. Put down a question or comment. We really appreciate you doing that. Thank you very much. Have an excellent day.